If there's one place on Earth that perfectly captures the intersection of engineering brilliance, international politics, and global trade, it's the Panama Canal. Every day, massive ships glide through a 50-mile ribbon of water cutting across Central America, carrying everything from oil to iPhones. And yet, behind this daily passage is a story of ambition, failure, geopolitical tension, and tropical disease. Let's break it all down in just 5 minutes. 1. A dream centuries in the making. The idea of building a canal through Panama isn't modern at all. It dates back to the 1500s, when Spanish explorer Vasco Núñez de Balboa first crossed the isthmus and realized, wait a minute, the Atlantic and the Pacific are really close here. But the land was unforgiving. Thick jungles, mountainous terrain, and a tropical climate made any serious construction project nearly impossible. Still, the dream lived on, especially as global trade exploded during the Age of Empire. 2. The French try and fail spectacularly. Fast forward to the 1880s. The French were riding high after building the Suez Canal in Egypt. Led by the same engineer, Ferdinand de Lesseps, they figured, we built one great canal. How hard could this one be? Very hard, it turns out. They tried to dig a sea-level trench through Panama, ignoring the wildly different geography compared to Suez. As a result, the project was plagued by landslides, extreme heat, and, worst of all, malaria and yellow fever. Over 20,000 workers died, and after years of failure, the project collapsed under scandal and financial ruin. 3. The Americans step in. In 1904, the United States took over the abandoned effort. And this time, they approached it differently. Instead of forcing a sea-level canal, American engineers created a lock-based system, using gates and chambers to raise and lower ships across the hilly terrain. But perhaps their biggest breakthrough? Medicine. Under the leadership of Dr. William Gorgas, the U.S. launched a full-scale war on mosquitoes, draining swamps and sanitizing work zones. Disease rates plummeted. After 10 years of work, over 40,000 laborers, and nearly $400 million invested, the Panama Canal officially opened on August 15, 1914. Ironically, it opened just as World War I began and global attention shifted elsewhere. 4. How it actually works. So how do you move a 1,000-foot-long ship through a mountain range? Here's the trick: locks. The canal uses a system of chambers to lift ships up to the level of Gatun Lake, an artificial lake sitting 85 feet above sea level, and then back down on the other side. Each ship goes through 3 locks on the Atlantic side and 3rd on the Pacific side, using water gravity alone to move. It's like a water elevator for giant cargo vessels. And it's not fast. Each full transit can take 8 to 10 hours, and ship captains must hand over control to canal pilots trained specifically to navigate this narrow, complex waterway. 5. The strategic importance. The Panama Canal slices 8,000 miles off the trip between the east coast of the U.S. and Asia. Instead of rounding the deadly Cape Horn at the bottom of South America, a voyage that took weeks, ships can now cut through Panama in under a day. Today, the canal handles over 12,000 vessels per year and moves more than $270 billion worth of cargo. That includes oil tankers, grain ships, LNG vessels, giant container ships stacked with electronics, clothes, furniture, you name it. Roughly 5% of all global maritime trade goes through this single canal. 6. Ownership and political control. Here's where it gets geopolitically spicy. For most of the 20th century, the Panama Canal was under U.S. control, and many Panamanians deeply resented that. Riots erupted in the 1960s. Anti-American sentiment grew. And eventually, in 1977, the U.S. and Panama signed the Torrijos-Carter treaties, agreeing to hand full control back to Panama by December 31, 1999. Since then, the canal has been operated by the Panama Canal Authority, a Panamanian government agency. And they've done a solid job, even expanding the canal in 2016 to handle new Panamax ships, almost double the size of the original vessels. But don't think global powers stopped caring. Both China and the United States have continued to compete for economic influence in Panama, with investments, infrastructure deals, and political pressure. 7. Today's big challenges. Despite its success, the Panama Canal faces some serious headwinds. Climate change. Severe droughts have hit Panama hard, lowering water levels in Gatun Lake and forcing the canal to reduce how many ships it can process each day. Capacity limits. Even with the expansion, demand is outpacing throughput. There are regular traffic jams and costly delays. Global rerouting. Some shippers are now rerouting through the Suez Canal, the Cape of Good Hope, or even across rail links in Mexico and the US, especially when Panama becomes congested. In other words, the canal isn't just a shortcut, it's a fragile bottleneck in a very fragile supply chain. To wrap it all up, the Panama Canal is one of the most important engineering projects in human history, built on ambition, failure, disease, and innovation. It transformed global trade. It changed the geography of power. And it remains a pressure point in the 21st century world, both economically and politically. From the mosquito-ridden jungles of the 1880s to the climate-constrained future of today, the Panama Canal is still doing what it was built to do: move the world forward. This was everything explained in 5 minutes. See you next time.